What happened when two tribes fell in love? I'll tell you, but first you need to understand something. This isn't a love story with a happy ending. It's messier than that, more violent, more beautiful. And by the time we're done, you're going to realize that this story didn't just happen in history. It's happening inside your body, right now. Let's start with a massacre. 750 BC, Rome. And Rome has a problem. It's basically a city full of men, rogues, runaways, outcasts, soldiers. Romulus built this city from nothing, on a hill, with ambition and blood. But you can't build a future with just men. You need families. You need children. You need women. So Romulus sends messengers to every neighboring tribe. He says, "Give us your daughters. Let our people intermarry. Let us become one." Every single tribe says no. You can't blame them. Rome at this point is basically a gang with a flag. Nobody wants their daughter marrying into that. So Romulus does something insane. He throws a party. He invites every neighboring tribe. The Sabines, the Canaanenses, the Crustumini. Tells them it's a grand festival, a religious celebration. Come, bring your families, bring your wives, bring your daughters. They come. Of course they come. It's a party. And then, at a signal, at one single moment, every Roman man grabs a Sabine woman and runs. The men of the Sabine tribe stand there, stunned, then furious, then screaming. War is coming, and it is going to be brutal. But here's where the story does something nobody expects. Months pass. The Sabine women are now living in Rome. Some were treated well. Some were treated terribly. History is complicated and doesn't sanitize itself for us. But lives were built. Children were born. And some of those women, not all, but some, fell in love with their Roman husbands. Now, the Sabine army is marching. Thousands of warriors coming to take back their women by force. The Romans line up to fight. Two armies facing each other, weapons raised, and the ground between them is about to turn red. And then something stops everything. The women run onto the battlefield. Not to escape, not to hide. They run between the two armies, holding their babies, screaming at both sides. One woman named Hersilia, the wife of Romulus himself, stands in the middle of that battlefield and shouts at her own father, "If you hate us for what was done to us, then kill us first, because we are the ones who will be destroyed either way." Both armies lower their weapons. The Sabine king looks at his daughter, looks at his grandchild in her arms, and something in him breaks open. The two tribes don't just make peace that day, they merge. Romulus and the Sabine king rule together. Their people become one people. And from that terrible, complicated, violent beginning, Rome starts becoming Rome. Not despite the collision of two tribes, because of it. Now, jump forward. Different world. Different kind of love story, but just as dangerous. Medieval Spain, 900 AD. In the city of Córdoba, something is happening that the rest of the world thinks is impossible. A Muslim scholar and a Jewish philosopher are sitting in the same library. A Christian king is being treated by an Arab doctor. A poet is writing verses that mix Arabic rhythm with Hebrew imagery, and the whole city is stopping to listen. This era has a name, La Convivencia, the coexistence. And yes, it wasn't perfect. There was still tension, still power imbalance, still violence at the edges. But for stretches of time in this place, people who were supposed to be enemies were instead curious about each other, drawn to each other, falling for each other. And when people fall for each other, they build things together. Walk into the Alhambra Palace in Granada today. Stand in the Hall of the Ambassadors and look up. Islamic geometric patterns covering every inch of the ceiling. Christian crosses woven into the tilework. Jewish mystical symbols hidden in the arches. One building, three worlds. Built by hands that had learned to reach across every line that was supposed to separate them. Then, the Reconquista came. The kings decided the experiment was over. Jews expelled, Muslims expelled, the lines redrawn. The mixing stopped. And Spain, which had been one of the most intellectually alive places on earth, went quiet. The music changed. The food got simpler. The books stopped being written. You can literally measure what the world loses when tribes stop loving each other. But nothing prepares you for what scientists found in 2010. In 2010, researchers finished sequencing the Neanderthal genome, and what they found rewrote everything we thought we knew about what it means to be human. Here's what we used to believe. Modern humans left Africa 60,000 years ago, spread across the world, met the Neanderthals, competed with them, and wiped them out. Clean story. Simple story. Here's what the DNA actually says. We didn't wipe them out. We fell in love with them. Somewhere in Europe or the Middle East, roughly 50,000 years ago. In the dark of an Ice Age winter, around a fire that neither language could fully describe, a modern human and a Neanderthal looked at each other and chose each other. And then it happened again and again for thousands of years.
So why does this keep happening? Every era, every continent, every wall humans build, every line they draw, and still people keep falling across it. Part of it is just proximity. Put any two people close enough together for long enough, and the story they were told about each other starts to crack. You learn their name. You see them scared. You find out they're afraid of the same dark you are. But there's something else, something almost like rebellion in it. Every person who has ever loved someone from the wrong tribe, the wrong religion, the wrong country, the wrong side of a war, they made a choice, consciously or not, that said, the story I was given about you is a lie. That's not weakness. That's one of the most radical things a human being can do. And here's what history always shows us. The people who try to stop tribes from falling in love, they lose eventually, not quickly, not without horror, but they lose because you cannot police attraction. You cannot put a wall around curiosity. You cannot stop two people from noticing that the story they were taught and the person standing in front of them simply don't match. Every empire that ever tried to keep bloodlines separate eventually collapsed into the very mixing it feared. So, what happened when two tribes fell in love?
Rome happened. The Alhambra happened. You happened. Every great cuisine in the world is a love story between cultures. Every musical genre that ever moved you, jazz, rock, hip-hop, flamenco, is the sound of two tribes falling for each other. Every word in every language carries the fingerprints of the strangers who came before. The tribes that fell in love didn't just survive. They created things the world had never seen before. And then those things changed everything. We are not and have never been one tribe. We are the result of 10,000 collisions, 10,000 moments where someone chose curiosity over fear, connection over conflict, love over the story they were told. And every single time that happened, the world got bigger. So here's the real question. Not what happened when two tribes fell in love in ancient Rome or medieval Spain or the Ice Age. The real question is what happens next? Because the tribes are still here. The lines are still being drawn. And somewhere out there, right now, two people from opposite sides of something are looking at each other and feeling something they weren't supposed to feel.
What they do with that, that's the next chapter. And if history is any guide, it's going to be extraordinary. If this hit you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories like this. And drop a comment. Which part surprised you the most? I read every single one.